Hey everybody, Shoebox Legends here. Thanks for joining me today for a Signature Sundays installment here on the channel where we look at some autographed cards from my sports cards or even non-sports collection. And we're going to be back to baseball this week. You can tell by the backdrop there. Those are some 2005 Upper Deck Baseball Heroes autos that I've shown in the past on the channel in various Signature Sunday installments. Really love that set from 2005. It, of course, harkens back to these guys, design-wise, which were the some of the earliest inserts in Upper Deck baseball products, the Baseball Heroes inserts. They did Nolan Ryan, Reggie Jackson, among others. But I loved in the early 90s pulling these inserts. Ted Williams was done as well, out of a pack. They're not valuable cards or anything today, but this design with this circular cutout behind the player that shows the photo, the solid border, the summary of what the milestone is, and then this great big Baseball Heroes logo. That whole design element was transferred into the 2005 Upper Deck Heroes baseball release, and they gave us these glorious Hall of Famer, in most cases, hard-signed autographs. There were 20 subjects in the set, and they got 5 cards each. Each player got 5 different cards. So they get 4 cards that look similar to these, the more classic heroes that you're used to. And then the 5th card for each player would be this illustrated or painted sort of cover card or title card for their 5-card run. So I went kind of nuts collecting these maybe about 10 years ago or so, just because I kind of got a nostalgia kick based on the Baseball Heroes design. And they were relatively affordable at that point in time. Never got close to anywhere near all 100 of them and never will. There are crazy player collectors out there for guys like Tony Gwynn and Don Mattingly and, some players that are just really difficult to get on the checklist. But I have held on to most of what I accumulated over time, including those 4 that you see behind you. And today we are going to look at a 5th Baseball Heroes auto from 2005 Upper Deck. This is, again, the Emerald version. Same as those other 4 in the background, which are all numbered out of 99. The great Paul Molitor. Of course, a longtime Milwaukee Brewer. Also played with the Twins at the very end of his career, which is where this photograph is from. And in between, spent some time with the Blue Jays. Was a part of some really important and very successful teams over the course of his career. Absolute hit machine. This guy ended up with over 3,300 career hits. Did possess some pretty good power, had 200 plus home runs. I think he drove in well over 1,000. I think it was even more like 13 or 1,400 runs. So good run producer. And then what this card pays tribute to, which I think is kind of cool, in 1998, he stole his 500th base. Again, that 98 was actually the final season of Molitor's career. Was his age 41 season in 1998. And I don't think he stole a lot of bases that year, but he still stole a few, like 9 or 10 anyway. This guy was a base-stealing threat throughout his career. He stole a base in every season that he played in Major League Baseball, 21 years. Oftentimes, stole a few dozen bases, so he really had some good speed to go along with that contact and power. This was the kind of guy, to me, if I was building a lineup in the early 80s, or really any time in the 80s or early 90s, I would want Paul Molitor maybe in my number 2 spot in my lineup. Just really amazing hitter. I don't think he gets the love in the hobby that a lot of his counterparts with similar stats do. Maybe it's because he wasn't a big power guy and was more of a contact hitter, a la Wade Boggs, although he did have, as I said, decent power. But yeah, again, just a well-rounded player. I love the kind of uniqueness of this card, celebrating something that happened in his final season that you don't really think of him for, with the 500 career stolen bases. And then, as is the case with all of these, and part of what draws me to them, the autographs themselves are just awesome. This entire set, all 100 autographs across all 20 subjects are all on card. And for whatever reason, Upper Deck, or however they did it this year, they just did a great job of getting all the athletes to use the same consistent, clear pen, big, bold strokes. They all signed right in the lightened signature area. They obviously received some very good instruction and markers in order to complete their signings for this release. I know that sounds silly and it's kind of like an administrative, behind the scenes kind of thing. That's Upper Deck's problem, not ours as collectors, but that's not always the case. And for this particular set, I really just commend Upper Deck for the job that they did. Here's a look at the back. These have very basic backs, no photos. They all say the same thing. If this were the non-autographed version of this card, there'd be some type of a write-up here about Paul's 500th career stolen base. But anytime you have an autograph, you just get the standard, congratulations message that you've received an autographed card. It does at least mention the athlete by name, Paul Molitor in this case. And again, all of these are on cards. So just cool that 3,300 career hitter held this card in his hand, signed it, and now it sits in my collection as the latest or most recent Baseball Heroes auto that I've shown off here on the channel. So with apologies to Al Kaline, who's going to get blocked out there, we'll put Mr. Molitor in his place, and we'll leave you with that backdrop of Hall of Famers. Really appreciate you stopping by to spend a few minutes of your time checking out this card with me, and I will certainly be back in the near future with more content, both autographed cards and otherwise. In the meantime, I hope everybody enjoys the hobby, and we'll see you next time.